4 working groups that were agreed in February 2024. That is the operations or process working group. We talk about the risk, the AO and the legal. From the presidential mandate, there is the issue of data exchange, and the director of customs will talk to that in terms of how best can we be able to do that. Does it need custom to custom, or does it need the broader collective? So he will direct us in that, and then we'll go towards the closer around 4 or 4:30. But we hope that if, and I'm going to be strict in terms of timeline, that we close somewhere around 4. But we are all government officials. If it means that we close late, that we conclude what our government has sent us to do today, let it be. Thank you so much. Before the opening remarks, I will ask that we switch on our mic and we introduce ourselves. I'll start. My name again is Colbert Buyane from SARS in South Africa. I'm in the office of the Director of Customs. Thank you, General.
Thank you, Director. My name is David Chelembe. I'm the Deputy Commissioner under the Border Management Authority responsible for operations.
If I can ask that you just stand and sit.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Deputy Assistant Commissioner Nel Mampa from the Border Management Authority National Targeting Center.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners and Deputy Commissioner. My name is Edward Mamadilso, Deputy Assistant Commissioner for Legal Services at BMA.
Good morning, Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner, and colleagues. My name is Mwegeti Masole. I am the Port Commander for the Bombo Port of Entry under BMA. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner, Deputy Commissioners, Directors, and colleagues. My name is Ndiwo Lwindi. I'm the Regional Commander for the Eastern Region. I'm responsible for Mpumalanga in KZN Province. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner, colleagues, directors. My name is Nishant Jainanai. I'm from the Border Management Authority.
Good morning, Commissioner, Director, esteemed colleagues, speak from the Westhuizen, representing the Bombo Customs. Thank you.
Deputy speaking, please. Commissioners, my name is Ntlantla Zuma. I'm with the Customs.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jacques Kamak. I'm the National Targeting Center representative for SARS.
Good morning, Commissioner, Director, and colleagues. My name is Tigeledi Mangolo from the Risk Unit within Customs.
Good morning to our principals and Mozambique counterparts. My name is Rachel Sinchumule. I'm the Senior Manager for Customs responsible for Mpumalanga and KZN region.
Good morning, Abusheni Obrigado. My name is Bonani Chablani, and I'm the head land modality from Customs SARS. Obrigado.
Bom dia, eu sou o Marco Ana, venho do Ministério da Defesa Nacional.
Bom dia a todos, meu nome é Hermenegildo João, do Ministério da Defesa Nacional.
Bom dia, meu nome é Teodósio Bula, sou do Projeto de Comércio e Conectividade da Afrostrada.
Bom dia, meu nome é Ivandra Costa, do Projeto de Comércio e Conectividade.
Bom dia, Tanado Boca, Alfândega, Universidade Tributária de Moçambique.
Bom dia, Sousa Alcântara, Serviço Nacional de Migração.
Bom dia, Sr. Presidente da BMA, o diretor MTL. Meu nome é Abdul Rahman, funcionário da Autoridade Tributária, Direção-Geral das Alfândegas, Direção do Contencioso Aduaneiro, e aqui estou na equipa de Gestão Coordenada de Fronteira para o lado moçambicano. Obrigado.
Bom dia a todos. Chamo-me Ana Rochola, estou no projeto de comércio e conectividade austral para a área do Comitê Nacional de Facilitação do Comércio e estou aqui no grupo do Operador Econômico Autorizado. Obrigado.
Bom dia, meu nome é André Covani, funcionário da Autoridade Tributária de Moçambique, Direção-Geral das Alfândegas. Aqui estou na equipa de gestão de risco.
Bom dia, sou a Beatriz M. Gomes, Ministério da Economia, Operação Bilateral.
Bom dia, comissário, bom dia, senhores diretores. Chamo-me Salomão Mutsu, coordenador adjunto do projeto de comércio e conectividade da Austral.
Saudações ao presídio, respondo pelo nome de Danilo da Conceição, jurista do Ministério de Transportes e Logística.
Bom dia a todos, me chamo Hermínio Manhamãe, sou funcionário da Autoridade Tributária. Estou afeto à unidade de implementação do projeto de conectividade da Austral.
Bom dia, chamo-me Carlos.
Bom dia, chamo-me Carla Machava, sou da Unidade de Reforma Legislativa da Autoridade Tributária.
Bom dia, chamo-me Vitor Quamba, Serviço Nacional de Imigração, chefe de posto de oficina, Tução Garcia.
Bom dia, meu nome é Bento Matola, sou funcionário da Autoridade Tributária de Moçambique, da Direção-Geral das Alfândegas. Obrigado.
Bom dia, eu chamo-me Leonel da Conceição, sou o chefe da delegação aduaneira do SABC.
Bom dia, chamo-me Rosa Carinha, da Autoridade Tributária, Alfândega, equipa de implementação geral única eletrônica.
Muito bom dia a todos. O meu nome é Benjamin Rocha, da Tributária, da Direção-Geral das Alfândegas, e faço parte da equipa de partilha de possibilidades.
Muito bom dia ao presídio, muito bom dia a todos. Meu nome é Edson Finias, do Ministério dos Transportes e Logística, Direção Nacional de Logística.
Bom dia, presídio. Eu sou Abel Silungo, do Ministério da Agricultura, Ambiente e Pescas, e nesta delegação no Comitê de Gestão Coordenada de Fronteiras. Obrigado.
Bom dia, Bruce Ellison, part of the World Bank, Facilitation Team.
Bom dia a todos, meu nome é Hernani Kekuchi, eu sou especialista sênior em facilitação do comércio do Banco Mundial.
Good morning, my name is Brian Storm. I am the Director for Customs and SARS at the South African Revenue Services.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Mike Nasia Pato. I'm the Commissioner for the Border Management Authority, South Africa.
Bom dia, meu nome é Fernando Owen,
Diretor Nacional de Logística no Ministério de Transportes e Logística. Obrigado.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Daniel Tavera. I'm representing now the General Director, Customs.
Thank you. You can clap for yourself. Not just general. Thank you so much. Although it's two countries, now it's one team because we know each other. With that, I will ask Dr. Masia Pate from the Border Management Authority. This is the BMA that is responsible for all South Africa's frontline functions to ensure coordination and collaboration at the border post, the airports and the seaports and the borderline in South Africa. This is formed through the Border Management Authority Act number 2 of 2020. So I can say he's the first and the founding commissioner of the BMA. Over to you, Dr. Masia.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Program Director and the Colbert Mbuyane. Colleagues, allow me to appreciate the leader of the delegation from Mozambique, Fernando Hongwana, as well as the Chief from Customs, Daniel Novella, but also the entire delegation of the team from Mozambique as introduced. Let me also appreciate, colleagues, the presence of the Director for Customs in the South African Revenue Service, Obeyas Teron. I also want to appreciate our two critical stakeholders, colleagues, that always give rise to us to have this kind of a conversation. And those are our colleagues from the World Bank, Bruce Allison, together with Anani Gakushi, as introduced earlier. I would like to also appreciate all of the colleagues from the South African side and the colleagues coming from Customs in terms of SARS, but also colleagues coming from the Border Management Authority. Let's also appreciate colleagues of the presence of colleagues from the media in the conversation. So colleagues, I have been tasked to give some bit of opening remarks on the basis of this particular conversation. I want to start by indicating, colleagues, that we had started this conversation around 2023, and we consciously came together because we fairly agreed, both jurisdictions, that when it comes to issues of land border management, it is not a one-country matter per se, but when you talk about land border management, we talk about an inter-jurisdictional affair. To the extent that we can all fairly agree that a particular jurisdiction can have any kind of advancements that they might put on the table. But if that particular advancement is not related or actually intertwined with some of the planning in our adjacent neighborhood, it becomes very much fruitless. So it is for that reason that we have agreed that as these two countries, we are then going to advance our collaborative engagements, particularly being facilitated by the experts in as far as the issues of better border management is concerned. And that is fairly the team from the World Bank. And that is why I did appreciate their presence. And of course, the role that they've played in kind of facilitating us coming together, and also in terms of some of the sponsoring activities that they've done on our behalf in as far as this particular work is concerned. So one thing as part of this opening, colleagues, is to indicate that in many instances there are discussions and there are engagements that always happen, particularly within the context of our continent, but most of them actually end up being just basic general diplomatic jamborees which do not necessarily come out with anything, as it were. I want to indicate, colleagues, that in this instance, particularly in the context of this particular conversation, we must be able to see the results of our work. And I also want to indicate, colleagues, that we have already started to see some bit of an improvement in terms of the workings that we see between our borders as South Africa and Mozambique. And mainly in this context, we might be talking here about the Maputo corridor within the context of N4 into Lebombo and ultimately into Mozambique, but more critically into Maputo Harbour, as it were. And I think on that basis, we can just cast our minds back. We can remember that in this particular corridor, we used to have instances where trucks could effectively be stuck here for some days, if not weeks. And today we are kind of talking in a bit of a different context. We no longer have that kind of a length, as it were, within the context of border management. So on that basis, we can fairly agree that we've been able to see some of the progress in terms of the work that we are actually supposed to be doing. The critical issue is to ensure that we implement all of the issues that we discuss in this particular conversation, particularly the work that is being done by the technical team on the ground. One thing that we can fairly agree, colleagues, is that an environment that we call a border, it is not supposed to be a place of camping. It's not necessarily supposed to be a place of sitting for some weeks. It's actually supposed to be a point of transition in a way, or a point of passage. And that is the ultimate objective that we have in as far as this part is concerned. The issues in terms of the historical collaboration that we have had between ourselves as jurisdictions are fairly much well documented, and that should not necessarily be considered as a critical challenge. We have also seen, colleagues, that Lebombo, port of entry in particular, is becoming one of the critical corridors, particularly in terms of the movement of cargo from the South African side in particular, going over into Maputo Harbour, as it were. We have also seen, even in terms of figures, that Lebombo is starting to challenge Bay Bridge, which happens to have been the biggest corridor into the continent in terms of the numbers of the trucks that we may facilitate through this particular port. I think you will fairly be aware that we are looking at an average of around 1,500 to 2,000 trucks on a day that are fairly facilitated in this particular environment. So on this particular base, colleagues, as we are to start this review of the joint action plan that we have signed between ourselves, and ultimately be able to also receive the report that has been put together by a private enterprise, MASC, that has been contracted by the World Bank in assisting us to be able to achieve certain critical milestones, particularly in the context of bringing efficiencies into the environment. There are certain things that we want to achieve, and I want to itemize them. The first part is the issue of the realization of what in other advanced jurisdictions will describe as a smart border blueprint. I suppose that is one thing that we need to achieve, and that is one thing that we need to realize. In this day and age, we can all agree that technology has been one of the most fundamental things that needs to be explored very seriously on the basis of modernizing our port environment. We are not in the 50s, colleagues, where we are expecting that we have to push in papers almost the entire day with a lot of bureaucratic bottlenecks that we actually create ourselves and ultimately end up bottlenecking the growth of our economies. We should be able to agree that we must be able to exploit the available technologies that are actually out there and be able to achieve smart border blueprint. And I suppose the report that we are going to receive today is going to assist us in as far as that part is concerned. The second issue, colleagues, is around the contents of the work that has been done in the past few months within the context of the implementation of our joint action plan. That becomes very much critical because we still are very much committed to those particular items that has been actually agreed between ourselves around the joint action plan, and we must be able to say this is what we have achieved to this point, And these are the issues that we are going to be implementing in the next few days. And that becomes very, very much fundamental. The other issue that I want to reflect on, colleagues, is the fact that for us to be able to fully advance the achievement of smart movement, as well as the ultimate free flow of freight in particular, we should be able to commit into some bit of adjusting of the infrastructure on the table, so that we are able to move in as far as the redesigning and redeveloping of our ports is concerned. And on that particular context, we can indicate that on the South African side, we are a bit at advanced stage, as it were, in as far as this particular item is concerned, to the extent that very soon we are going to be announcing our private partner that is going to assist us in the redesigning of Lebombo in this instance, and make sure that it is opened up so that we are able to have dedicated lanes that we need to be able to use for the purposes of the movement of freight. The ultimate objective, as the Director Theron will indicate here, is the achievement of a non-stop border post concept, particularly when it comes to the movement of cargo in particular. And that is something that we must be able to commit to and be able to achieve. If we keep on working together, we should be able to achieve that reality. And of course, within the context of the Joint Action Plan, we agree that we have set up, I would say, actions that were to be implemented in the shorter term, and those that were implemented in the medium term, and those that were to be implemented in the longer term. And I suppose when we start reflecting and reviewing, we should be able to give that report and get that report in terms of where we are in as far as these issues are concerned. Now, colleagues, in conclusion, I just want to indicate that as we are to engage in today's conversation, we must be able to agree that the problems that we are supposed to be facing, particularly when we talk about the bottlenecks in as far as the free flow is concerned, but also on the broader issues of migration, issues of security, or just the broader issues of managing our own national security imperatives, but also our national interests, as it were, we should be able to collaborate together. In that particular instance, we must all be committed to identifying those individuals who are part of this value chain, whose intention might be to subvert our issues in terms of bringing in some element of criminality, but also bringing into some element of moving, for instance, illicit goods in between our jurisdiction, or any of the issues that will not be desirable or not be advantageous for all our jurisdiction. And on that particular basis, we must be able to work together, we must be able to share data, and ultimately be able to synchronize even our standard operating procedures in the ports to make sure that we remove any kind of bureaucratic challenges that continues to create a bit of a stalemate in as far as the environment is concerned. So I want to sincerely thank all of the delegates for their commitments for this particular course, as well as our colleagues from Mozambique for the good collaboration that we have achieved and realized in working together. And on that particular basis, I just want to say good luck, particularly to the technical teams and as they start their technical deliberations towards the end of today, but also tomorrow up to Wednesday. And on that basis, we should be able to make sure all of these discussions we are making, colleagues, should not just end into some file somewhere, or should not just be some element of just a gathering on the basis of getting some bit of cost and then it ends there. We should be able to make sure that the people of both jurisdictions must be able to see the turnaround that we are talking about, but also the change that they are supposed to be seeing in as far as our interface is concerned, particularly from a border management point of view. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Masiapati, for setting the tone in terms of your welcoming remarks. I think what stuck was a better border management. How can we collaborate these two countries to achieve better border management? And
what the Director of Customs in South Africa always says. You can speak all the terms, but better border management must be the experience of the end user, who's the trader, who's the traveler. If their experience doesn't improve, while we say we have improved, then that is not border or better border management. Dr. Masiapate also indicates that the more than 1,500 trucks used to have a longer turnaround time, and I think in customs we very much concerned as per the World Customs Organization about turnaround time. And it also adds to an element of crime while they are on the road. They can be mugged, a lot of things can happen. When we started this engagement, there were long queues on the corridor, as Dr. Masiapate said. But as we speak, as we're coming through, you will find that the corridor is clear. That means the work that we have started in November 2023 and signed that agreement in February 2024, and the working groups work on the immediate results, the short term and the medium term. So the medium term are what we call results that we need, that have dependencies. For instance, the legal, the infrastructure, and so forth. And Dr. Masiapate is saying, even in that, there is a private partnership with government in terms of increasing the availability of the right resources that can leverage on smart technologies. That will include exchange of data that both customs will now utilize. There is also, for those clients that are compliant, we move them towards the trusted trader, which is the authorized economic operator. So thank you for that, Dr. Masiapate. Now, before I call on the Director of Customs in South Africa, just a few house rules and to ensure the safety of everyone. So this is a hotel, we're in a lodge, and there are tourists, there are other types of visitors, and we are here on a government business to ensure that we extend the aspiration of the two countries. So for your safety, in the unlikely event of any disturbance, our health and safety suggests that I will direct you to leave and move towards the parking lot. That is where we'll then meet and we'll check on the register whether everyone was able to exit the venue. Sometimes it can be a drill, but even if it's a drill, let's treat it as if something unlikely has happened and we follow the health and safety officials from the hotel that will direct us to where we go. Should call of nature arise while we're discussing, please follow this door into the restaurant. There are restrooms. Some are at this end on my left, so help yourself in that particular regard. But for anything, I have my administrators. If you can come beside from the register just so that we can see you. You can come, you can engage them so they will direct you to anything that you want to know. South Africa welcomes you, and you are not new. You have been here in February, you come to the border. So we just separated by a fence.